Hey, what's up people? It is Reaperator here, and today we are coming in with my video on why Starfield has to succeed. So, without messing around, let's get straight into this. Now, the first thing and the main thing for me is the timing, right? This game is coming out in 2023. It was already delayed, which I'm fine with because that gives Bethesda more time to work on the game. I'd rather them spend more time with it than have them rush it and it comes out terrible, right? At this moment in time, we have not gotten a Bethesda main game entry since Fallout 76, which came out in 2018, but we all know that game is trash and it doesn't really exist and it's not canon, blah, blah, blah. So basically, they haven't released a game since Fallout 4 in 2015, or at least that's what I go off of. That means when Starfield comes out in 2023, unless it gets delayed again, then that means it'll be 8 years since the last real Bethesda game. I mean, that's a very long wait. There's a lot riding on this. People are expecting a lot because it's been so long since the community has had a game that they can dive into and just get lost in. On top of this, Bethesda announced that after Starfield, they're coming out with The Elder Scrolls 6, and after that, Fallout 5. Now, The Elder Scrolls 6 is not set to come out. Predictions are saying until like 2026, and those might even be wrong, right? That's just early speculation. Bethesda hasn't even said when they want to come out with it yet. And then if nobody else develops Fallout 5 and Bethesda has to do it themselves, then that means we won't get another Fallout entry until probably 2030, like minimum, right? That is a super long wait. That means between Fallout 4 and Fallout 5, there would be a 15-year wait. That is ridiculous. But what does Fallout and Elder Scrolls have to do with Starfield, you ask? Well, if Bethesda launches this the way they intend to, which is that people will latch onto this game, love it, and it'll be a new successful Bethesda IP, that means they'll start doing 3 cycles of their IPs: Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield. So if Starfield sucks and people don't like it, and they only really like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, or maybe some people only like one of those, they don't like the other, then that means people will be waiting an exorbitant amount of time to get the title that they want from Bethesda, since they're so bogged down with their new title. So if this new title isn't good, we're not going to have anything to satisfy our cravings for those other games. On top of that, for people like me who don't like Bethesda multiplayer experiences, if they bog down any of the times for solo games with more multiplayer games, that just adds more fuel to the fire for this. So this game really needs to be good. I mean, there's no room for error here. Now, some of you might be asking, well, why even have this discussion? I mean, it's a Bethesda game. It's going to be good, right? Well, not always. As we've seen, things like Fallout 76 can come out and ruin that. And a lot of people didn't like Fallout 4. I personally like Fallout 4. I'm probably a little biased because it's the first Fallout I've played. And at the date of recording this, I've only played Fallout 4, and I'm just starting to play Fallout 3. So I haven't experienced the older titles. However, Bethesda can miss sometimes, so this game won't be an exception. They have to really go all out with this. On top of that, some of the things that Bethesda has announced are kind of making the community a little skeptical, and myself included. Thing one would be that they announced there's going to be over 1,000 planets. Now, surface level, that might seem cool. You're like, wow, there's going to be 1,000 planets to explore? Even if I play this game for a lifetime, I'll never explore everything. And I think, A, they wouldn't want that to happen to anybody, and B, they just don't have the time to develop that much, which means these planets are going to be computer generated. So what does that mean? Perhaps it means that they let the computer generate a planet, and some will be desolate, but most will have things going on, whether that be cities with NPCs or just cool, like, enemies, any of that stuff. I'm all for it. But what it could mean, if they're getting lazy, is that most planets are going to be desolate, and there's going to be a few that have life, which I'm fine with as long as the ones with life really stand out and there's a decent amount to explore. The second thing that has the community a little skeptical is the fact that the gunplay in the trailer that they showed looks a little dry. It doesn't look like there's too much going on with it. I mean, it looks somewhat smooth, definitely up to par with Fallout 4, but Fallout 4 wasn't perfect. It's definitely a step up from the older Bethesda titles like Fallout 3, but it's still not all the way there. It's not up to par with something like Call of Duty, where since gunplay is the focus, they really refine it. And it doesn't need to be as good as Call of Duty. I understand that they have kind of perfected that craft. However, it needs to be pretty good. I mean, we're in a gaming age where the gunplay, it's almost a requirement for it to be really good nowadays, or people aren't going to want to play the game. And I know myself, I really like the combat when it comes to games. I'm all for it. So if the combat sucks, then I'm not going to want to play. That's actually the reason I didn't buy Gotham Knights, and I'm glad I didn't, because the combat in that game looked really stale and boring, and pretty much everybody universally agrees that that's the case. The third thing that has the community skeptical would be that it looks like there's going to be a very big focus on settlement building and kind of do-it-yourself settlements, because the planets look like they're going to be desolate, and then you kind of have to populate it yourself. Now, I personally somewhat enjoyed this feature in Fallout 4, definitely more than what most of the community says. But there are some people who don't like that, and that's absolutely fine. You know, it's an RPG. You're supposed to be able to play how you want. So if Bethesda takes too much time and effort and focuses on DIY settlements instead of ones that Bethesda themselves build, that's going to upset a huge portion of the community, myself included, because even though I like the settlement system, it's always kind of like a back burner, almost like another game mode. But the main thing we want is to be able to explore stuff that Bethesda builds for ourselves. The fourth thing would be that space exploration could be boring. In real life, space is obviously a huge void. There's not much going on in it, but this is a video game. It's not real life. And Todd Howard has said that he wants to go for a somewhat realistic space feel, which would mean that most of it's boring and empty. However, I think if there's things like space stations, abandoned ships, maybe a distress signal that you go check out every here and there, that'll be enough for me to incentivize space travel. What I really hope they don't do is do something like the Outer Worlds, where you have a ship, but you don't really ever get to use it in space at all, and it's more of just a way to fast travel. Now, that worked for the Outer Worlds with the vibe they were building, because you only travel amongst one solar system, and it was your way to get from planet to planet. This game, however, encompasses 1,000 planets, and I'm going to want more than just a way to fast travel. I want to engage in those dogfights and stuff that they're advertising in the trailers, and I just hope we get to see a lot of that. I think space exploration could be one of the key points in this game if they do it right. But if they do it wrong, it'll be nothing more than an annoyance and an obstacle that gets in the way of your fast travel. The fifth thing that people are skeptical about is the creation engine. Now, Bethesda has announced that they have something called Creation Engine 2, which seems to me like they're just refining and building off the Creation Engine, which I think is fine, as long as it's not buggy and it doesn't feel like you're playing a 90s video game with updated graphics. Because games like Fallout 4, you can really start to see the age of the engine. Like, things as simple as running and jumping feel a little bulky, I guess. I don't really know how to put it, but I think you all know what I'm trying to get at here. The engine just feels really old, and I want to feel like I'm playing a modern game. I mean, this is coming out in 2023. If they keep letting themselves build with this engine, it's just going to upset more and more people. And it already has upset a huge portion of the community. And I'm really hoping that this Creation Engine 2 truly feels like a new game engine and not just updated graphics on a 90s engine. And the sixth and last reason why people are kind of skeptical with this game is because the company of Bethesda is already on thin ice with the community. Pretty much all of the long-term fans all hated Fallout 76, and if you like it, that's fine by me, but me personally, I played it for probably about 24 total hours, and I'll never get those back. I did not like that game. I couldn't get into it. It's not for me. So what I'm really hoping here is that they understand that they're on thin ice with the community, and they use that and blow away all of our expectations. So, I didn't come here to make this video today to talk about all the things that could go wrong, because I also want to talk about some of the things that have me optimistic about this game. I'm actually very excited to play it. I just hope that my fears don't come true and Bethesda refines it. But here are some of the things that I think could go very well for this game and are the reason why I'm going to pre-order. The first thing is they don't appear to have a voice protagonist. Now, since my first entry into the Bethesda world of games was Fallout 4, I didn't think anything of this when I first played Fallout 4 because I had no prior experience. It was actually not even the first Bethesda game I played, but the first RPG I ever played. so I didn't think anything of it. But then I went back and I played Skyrim, and currently I'm playing Fallout 3, and I've also played The Outer Worlds, where there's no voice protagonist and you get to pick dialogue boxes, and I gotta say, that is the better system, hands down. One of the main things I hated about Fallout 4 was when you'd click an option that said sarcastic, and then the outcome is nothing like what you clicked. And there was a lot of that in Fallout 4. It was very annoying. And also, it kind of makes your character have one voice when, you kind of should be creating the voice in your head if you're going full out with the RPG. I didn't really like that. But this game is not going to have one, to my understanding, and I'm very excited that they're bringing back the dialogue box system. The second thing I'm excited for is the fact that there are a lot of RPG elements that they've shown us in the trailer, and hopefully we get a lot more. Now, I don't know the specifics of if there will be like a special system like that where you can spec high in intelligence and then get more intelligent dialogue options or vice versa. But what I do know is they have a thing called character traits, which looks like background for your character and also just personality and behavior traits. And I'm really excited to explore and see all the different builds I can make with something like that. I think it's going to give people who truly like RPGs and who truly like building all kinds of crazy different characters a lot to work with. And I'm so excited that they're taking it back to that. Because honestly, when it comes to Fallout 4, it doesn't really feel like an RPG to me. It feels like an action shooter. There's very little roleplay elements. So I'm excited that, once again, we get to create our own character how we want. The third thing I'm excited for is ship customization. I already know that I'm going to try to assemble the Millennium Falcon. I mean, how can you not? But there seems to be quite a bit of different things you can do with your ship, and I really look forward to that aspect of the game. It looks like something that I can see myself spending hours upon hours doing, and really making my ship feel personalized to me and my character. And overall, I hope we get something good with that, and who knows, maybe there will be not that much at launch, but they'll add more with DLC, or maybe there will be a lot at launch and they add even more on DLC. I mean, there's a lot that could go good for this, and I'm really excited to see all the different ways I can craft my ship. The fourth thing I'm excited for is the fact that this game is a blank slate and something fresh. When it comes to Bethesda titles, anything like Fallout or Elder Scrolls, there's already a lot of pre-existing lore to build off of, and sometimes that's cool, but a lot of times, because Bethesda doesn't typically like to keep anything the way it was, they'll retcon things and change them a lot, which annoy me to some extent. They don't completely ruin the game for me or anything. However, I am excited for this because they can't retcon anything that they've built off of prior, because there's nothing prior. This will be an entire new world for us to explore, a bunch of new lore, a bunch of new factions, a bunch of new NPCs, all of which are new and fresh and we've never seen before. The fifth thing that got me excited for this game was actually the fact that it was delayed. Now, that might sound a little weird, and you're like, why would you be excited for a game to be delayed? Well, it's because it shows to me that Bethesda is not going the route of putting out a game in lackluster condition and expecting us all to just go with it and they'll update it and fix it as it goes along. They're actually taking the development time required to have this game come out right, and I'm so glad they did that. If they need to delay it more, I'm all for it. As long as it comes out good, they can delay it as long as they want. I want a good game, not a half-finished product. 6 would be that the graphics look pretty good on this game. They're not perfect by any means, but they're definitely a step up from what we saw in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, so I'm very excited to see all the cool visual effects and stuff like that, especially because it's going to be in space. A space game, in my opinion, really needs good graphics to really sell you on some of the stuff. And the seventh thing I'm excited for are when the modders come in and make this game even better. I mean, no matter what state the game comes out in, whether it's great or whether it's trash, the modders will have an entire universe to work with when it comes to modding. They can take any desolate planet and make it full of life, or they can add new ship parts, maybe make you be able to build robots if that's not already a feature. There's a lot that they can work with in this title, so I think no matter what, if the game comes out bad, the modders will fix it. So, all in all, I'm remaining optimistic for this title until proven otherwise. I will be pre-ordering this game, and I'll be streaming it as soon as it comes out, whenever it comes out in 2023, so stay tuned for that, guys. But with that being said, I'm going to end the video here. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, as it truly does help my channel a lot. If you want to see more in the future from me, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below with your thoughts and opinions on Starfield. Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Do you plan on buying it? Let me know what you think of the game in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.